Wow, so I just checked my subscribers and I didn't even notice until I just looked. I'm at 20 subscribers. This might not seem like a lot to you guys, but that really seems like a lot to me because if you guys don't know how I initially started this YouTube page, it's on my Snapchat. So I know a majority of my subscribers are from people from my Snapchat. So I know that that's legitimate support. And wow, guys, just the fact that you guys are following me on this journey, it really makes all of this worthwhile. But welcome back, guys. My name is Terrence, and this is Comicbreak 98, where I'm going to break down your favorite Marvel and DC storylines for all of you guys' viewing pleasure. So, we had just seen in issue number 4, Conflict on the Far Side of the Galaxy, the battle between Thanos and the Earth superheroes. But this, guys, this is what I've been trying to get to, like, in the entire Infinity Gauntlet storyline. This is really the battle for the Marvel Universe, because it's Thanos versus the cosmic beings. And if you guys don't know how dangerous this is, what this means for the Marvel Universe, it's basically Thanos versus all of the things that make the universe what it is. So he's basically fighting the universe itself. But without getting too much into it and spoiling for you guys, let's get into issue number 5, the Astral Conflagration. So picking up right where we had left off at the end of issue number 4, the Conflict on the Far Side of the Galaxy, where we had seen Thanos essentially slaughtering the remainder of the Earth's forces and the cosmic beings essentially descending upon him to begin the Astral Conflagration. The story brings us back to that same moment where we see that actually a multitude of Marvel's most prominent cosmic beings are there. We see that Galactus, the Celestials, Kronos is there, and we talked about all of this during preparations for war, where they were all joining together to make this move against Thanos, which if you guys want to catch up, make sure you go back and watch that. But we see that actually Master Order and Lord Chaos are leading the charge against Thanos, and they're telling him that he needs to surrender those Infinity Gems immediately, because if he doesn't, the power that he will experience collectively by all of the cosmic beings will be something that he had never experienced in all of his wildest dreams. And Thanos, we know Thanos, he completely rebukes this. He tells them that they are addressing omnipotence and they should tread carefully, because the things that Thanos can do with the full power of the Infinity Gauntlet is far beyond anything that any of them could understand, and that they should leave now before they face the wrath that is Thanos. But from here, the story jumps over to Mephisto and Eros, where we see Mephisto telling him that Thanos is about to put on quite a show, because now that all of the cosmic entities are aligned against Thanos, he will have to release the full power of the Infinity Gauntlet if he hopes to, come out on top. But even still, Mephisto says that the battle remains uncertain, and he tells Eros, because Eros can't talk because Thanos deleted his mouth, he tells him that he doubts that Eros will last even a few microseconds into the conflict, because this is something incomprehensible to any being that's not on that level of power. And he tells him that it should be a quick death, but he tells him that Thanos has the power to recreate anything and he'll make it as good as new. And he kind of toys with Mephisto, kind of scare him, and he tells him maybe he'll make him as good as Nebula. And you see the look on Eros' face. He's like, hey, what are you talking about, man? Cut that out. But half a galaxy away, the story picks up with Doctor Strange, which we hadn't seen Doctor Strange at all during issue number 4, the Conflict on the Far Side of the Galaxy. We actually hadn't seen him since issue number 3, so this is our first time picking up with him since then. But he's basically telling Adam Warlock, conveying information to him and the Silver Surfer, that the Earth is falling into another ice age. But he asks Adam Warlock how are things going on his end, and Adam Warlock tells him that all the Earth's defenders, they've either fallen or been exiled to parts unknown. So he asked Doctor Strange, could he use his mystic powers to retrieve whoever he can for a later cause? Because, there always has to be a backup plan. There has to when the universe is at stake. But he tells Doctor Strange that in the meantime, Eternity's Cosmic Brigade has, engaged Thanos. And Doctor Strange is like, what? Like, that's crazy, because a battle of that magnitude could... The powers unleashed in the initial clash are beyond the power of words to describe. Many of the edicts of nature fall victim to the assault. I sense near collapse along the entire spectrum of reality. And we find out that this is actually from Uatu the Watcher, as he's actually observing the entire conflict as it happens. And we see him saying that he actually has fear growing in his heart, because he has fear that he is witnessing the end of the universe. And we see entire solar systems in the immediate vicinity are being ravished as a result of the effects of this celestial clash. And calculating the billions of lives as a result of this confrontation will have to wait. But even in the midst of all of this destruction, he's still awestruck. We find out that Eros was certain that this initial clash would be the death of him, but even more surprised that he is that he survived, he's more surprised at who had saved him. And we find out that Mistress Death, yeah, Mistress Death had saved Eros from this clash of Thanos versus all the cosmic beings. So yeah, Thanos, it's no hope for you, bro. Like she's not going. Like we know this now. Like 100%, man. But all jokes aside, I really do think that you guys should pay attention to this move that Mistress Death had just done, because you guys have to remember, Mistress Death was the one that brought Thanos back to life and sent him on this quest to acquire the 6 Infinity Gems and to delete half of the life of the universe. And her making this move against him, it basically shows us that she saw Thanos as nothing more than a pawn to accomplish a task that she, I guess, couldn't do herself. And isn't that like every other conniving woman? But when we come back to Adam Warlock and the Silver Surfer, we find them really collecting themselves after the initial conflict of Thanos versus the cosmic beings, and really realizing that the fact that they're still alive was sheer luck. Like anyone, how Eros thought, how anyone caught in this immediate vicinity of this initial clash should have been dead, but somehow they had survived. But we see that Silver Surfer is asking Adam Warlock, what is that? And we see that there's some sort of rippling effect going on in the space around them. And Adam Warlock tells the Silver Surfer that this is an interdimensional distortion cascade, and they have to be away from this area quickly, because if they're caught in it, they're going to be lost forever. So I guess like any type of electromagnetic, any type of interference with this rippling effect will probably result in it just like exploding. And we also find out that initial clash of Thanos versus the cosmic beings, that was really the nail in the coffin for Earth. Like it's really just drifting in, the vacuum of space. And we find out that because of this, it had opened up new threats for Earth, because the Earth is now protected. There's no one there to protect it. And now this sucks, guys. A portal opens and Annihilus and his swarm of like bug things, they invade the Earth. So Earth basically is taken over by Annihilus now. But really, all the turmoil that Earth is experiencing at this moment, it's really not worth mentioning, because you guys have to remember, Earth is a planet, it's where all the superheroes are from, but we gotta remember, this is a battle for the universe. Like, to be honest, Annihilus, I mean, you can have Earth, but, Earth's probably gonna be gone too, buddy, so, no harm done. But when we come back to Thanos, we see that the conflict is well underway. We see Thanos using the Infinity Gauntlet and just using it to unleash massive amounts of power that Uatu says makes the heavens tremble. But we see that the first beings that make their move against Thanos are the Celestials. And we see them using planets, like literally, how many planets? Like 20, I don't know, a lot of planets. And they're throwing it at Thanos like are there people on there? We don't know. And Uatu even says that the measures that they have to go and the lives that they have to take to save their universe, they can't think about all the lives that's lost, because if they don't stop Thanos, they're all going to be gone anyway. But we see that them throwing those planets at Thanos, it really did nothing. He blasts right through them, and the Celestials are essentially neutralized. But we find out that was actually a diversion for Kronos to come and try to bury Thanos within the depths of time. So I guess bury him so deep that he won't know where he is, which, I don't know, were you thinking, Kronos? He has the time gem, so, time is basically all under his control. It's literally like you're trying to drown an ocean. But we see that Thanos easily comes back to the time that they were just in, and he neutralizes Kronos, so Kronos is out of the picture. And let me remind you guys, Thanos isn't killing the cosmic beings. He's not doing that, because if he did that, that would speak thousandfold other problems for the universe. He's basically neutralizing them, so yeah, just so you guys know. But from here we see that the next two entities that make their move against Thanos are actually Master Order and Lord Chaos, where we see that, as Uatu says, they're actually trying to dichotomize Thanos. So I guess trying to separate Thanos from whatever makes Thanos Thanos. But we know Thanos, he possesses the Infinity Gauntlet, so he will never surrender his individuality. So he neutralizes the both of them. But immediately after, we see that the Stranger, Galactus, and Eon try to bombard Thanos with a blitzkrieg of energy. But again, Thanos possesses the Infinity Gauntlet. With a mere wish, he easily bypasses their attack on him, and he again reigns supreme. But when we come back to Adam Warlock and the Silver Surfer, we see them observing the conflict, and it literally just looks like a massive ball of energy just in the vacuum of space. And you can tell The power that's in there, if anybody comes close to it, they are gone. But we see that Adam Warlock is saying that this entire conflict is utter folly, or Silver Surfer rather, and he's saying that the universe is about to be destroyed and there's no one there to defend it, and this insanity cannot continue. And Adam Warlock replies to Silver Surfer and he simply asks him, how would you stop it? How? Like, how do you stop this amount of power? You can't. And it's really, really a sad thing to think about, because Thanos, he's pure evil, and I can just feel the desperation in all of the heroes' forces, and and just the way that Jim Starlin wrote this. Like, they're really at an end. Like, they don't know what to do. Like, there's nothing that they can do to stop Thanos. And the sad reality of all that is that that is a fact. Like, if anything is true in this universe anymore, it's that Thanos is supreme. But when we come back to Thanos, it seems that he's at odds with himself, because he's saying things like, what is he doing? But then he goes and then he says he's giving these wretches exactly what they deserve. But they're his heavenly brothers. But then he says he'll kill them all, but he should honor and cherish them. And by then he realizes that someone is manipulating his emotions, like Eros had done earlier. And Thanos finds out that Mistress Love and Sire Hate are trying to manipulate Thanos' emotions to try to get him to take the Infinity Gauntlet off. But we see that Thanos uses the Gauntlet's power to basically fend them off. And when he does this, Thanos notices that he is attacked by Hellfire, and Hellfire belongs to one person, and he realizes that this is Mephisto, and we see that he tries to make his move against Thanos to try to take the Infinity Gauntlet off of him. So you guys knew Mephisto was Two-Face the whole time, but Thanos, obviously, he grabs Mephisto by the neck, and he's about to kill him, but they are separated by one person, and God, oh man! Mistress Death saves Mephisto from his certain death at the hands of Thanos. And when Thanos notices, he can't even believe that she would betray him like this. Because you guys, he did all of this for her. He offered her the universe, and you can just see the look on Mistress Death's face. She is completely unbothered. And while Thanos is in this moment of being completely distraught, the cosmic entities take this time to try to bury Thanos with a relentless amount of power. But the fact that Thanos possesses the Infinity Gauntlet, subconsciously, just the fact that he doesn't want to be defeated, he won't. And Thanos completely traps all of the cosmic entities in his newfound shrine that doesn't have Mistress Death on the head figures or whatever. It's now Thanos, and Thanos is supreme. And I told you guys way back in issue number 1, Mistress Death was going to rule the day that she curved Thanos, and he got rid of all that. He got rid of her face off the shrine. He got rid of all of her cosmic friends. You know what? Go you, Thanos. I'm proud of you, man. But from this point, the story jumps back to Adam Warlock and the Silver Surfer, where we see them observing the conflict as it happens. And the Silver Surfer is telling Adam Warlock that the galactic disruption has abated. But Adam Warlock replies and he tells him that the war continues and he shouldn't delude himself into thinking otherwise. And Silver Surfer notices that the shadow world in the distance, that he had been there before and it may be inhabited, and they have to go and see if there are survivors. And Adam Warlock tells the Silver Surfer that he would advise against it. And Silver Surfer basically tells them that he's had enough of Adam Warlock's advice. And when Adam Warlock says, as they wish, when they get there, it's exactly as we all expected. No one survived. We just see craters, pieces of rock from the planet that once was, and the bodies and the inhabitants that were once out in the vacuum of space, and they're all gone. And Adam Warlock notices, because Silver Surfer, he's an extremely compassionate being, and Adam Warlock notices this, and he tells him that Thanos is a nihilist, and unless his reign is toppled, this entire fate of what happened to this small planet, it awaits the entire universe. But when we come back to Thanos, we see him talking to someone, and he's telling them that he had been expecting them. And we see that eternity has arrived to begin the literal battle for the universe. And we see that Thanos is telling eternity that he had bypassed all of his foot soldiers, the other cosmic entities. And now it's time for the battle to control all that is his and himself, which is control of this reality. Because you guys can see on eternity, he's like a silhouette of the universe. And Thanos tells him that this is a prize that he had sought to gain ever since he had gone quest to acquire the 6 Infinity Gems, for this moment here to control all of reality. And Eternity tells him, then let us see who has the tighter grip on all that is. And he tells Thanos to defend himself. And the battle for the control of the entire Marvel Universe has begun. And when the battle begins, there's a blinding flash of light, and Adam Warlock and the Silver Surfer this surely must be the end. But we come back to them, and we see that Adam Warlock is telling the Silver Surfer that no, this isn't the outcome, because the battle for this cosmic conflict has already been decided. And Silver Surfer asks Adam Warlock, how can he know this? And Adam Warlock replies to Silver Surfer, and he tells him that he's linked to the Infinity Gems in ways that even he doesn't fully understand. And the mastery of all actuality is now in the hands of one individual. And Silver Surfer is like just basically saying Thanos or Eternity, like who won, man? Stop with all these riddles. And Adam Warlock tells him that the one who won is the one who loses subconsciously when their desires betray him. And Silver Surfer's like, so you mean that, and Adam Warlock is like, yeah. And only in that slim hope does survival lay, but that's basically he's basically telling us that, it's not what we think. It's done. But Adam Warlock basically asks the Silver Surfer, are these more riddles? Is speaking plainly beyond his ability? And Adam Warlock says, like, perhaps. So why is he playing with Silver Surfer like this? But he tells Doctor Strange that retrieval is in order. So Doctor Strange basically opens a portal, and they both enter it, and they return back to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where they discuss the conflict as it happens to Doctor Strange. But in the meantime, back at the Shrine of Thanos, we can see that Eternity has been placed in that sort of force field that Thanos had placed all the other cosmic entities in when he had gone to the conflict against them. And we can also see that Eternity's silhouette of the universe is now gone. But when we look at Thanos, it seems that Thanos is unconscious as well. And when Taraxia is asking Thanos for any type of response, Thanos replies and he asks her, what would she have him say? And it's revealed to us that Thanos has usurped the role of Eternity and has become the main focal point of all that is in the Marvel Universe. But I'm not going to leave you guys on a cliffhanger. I'm not that petty. So, as Thanos is there as the new Eternity of the Marvel Universe, we can see that Uatu the Watcher basically says that this valiant effort of all the Marvel Universe's forces to try and stop Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet before he takes over and potentially destroys the entire universe, that all of that's failed. And we can see that while Thanos is observing all of the people there, Eros, Nebula, and Taraxia actually asks Thanos, what about his body? And Thanos says that it's no longer needed because he shed his flesh and rid himself of all vulnerability. And guys, okay, watch this. So with Thanos becoming the new Eternity of the Marvel Universe, he really does have some truth. He doesn't really need a body anymore because his actuality is the center of everything that is. But the only problem with this is that Thanos' physical body, the one that still possesses the fully powered Infinity Gauntlet, it's still there on the battlefield. So all someone would have to do, if they were thinking straight, would just be to walk up to Thanos' unconscious body and take the Infinity Gauntlet off. And what we see is that a charred Nebula, still filled with hatred and still pining for revenge against Thanos for all the terrible things that he had done to her, we see her eyeing this unconscious body of Thanos. We see her approaching Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. As she gets closer and closer, we can see that Taraxia and Thanos, or the new Eternity, they both notice. And before they can make a move to try and stop Nebula from doing what she is about to do, it's too late. And she removes the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos, and Nebula now possesses the Infinity Gauntlet. And the first thing she does, obviously, among other things, is she wills herself back to her normal form, away from the form that Thanos had placed her on, that line of life and death. And she talks to Thanos and she tells him that the mantle of providence is now on new shoulders and her every wish is but an urge away. But the only wish that she has for Thanos right now is revenge. And we see that she uses the Infinity Gauntlet to blink both Thanos and Taraxia away from the battlefield. And that's that arrogance that I kept telling you guys about. Thanos had kept displaying it to us throughout this entire storyline, and all the things that Thanos had done makes it plausible. He had acquired the 6 Infinity Gems. He had blinked half of the life in the entire universe, defeated all the Earth's heroes, defeated all the cosmic entities, and usurped the role of Eternity. Thanos, he has it where it counts, but his arrogance, his belief that no one could stop him because of the power that he had, he didn't think that there was any way, but someone so minute, someone that was completely in the background that he hadn't been worrying about. He had just been thinking all about himself. They were the ones to take the Infinity Gauntlet off of him because of that one simple mistake. Not even putting like a force field around his body, not disintegrating, destroying, or putting it somewhere else. It cost him the entire Infinity Gauntlet, and now it really cost him the universe. But back at the Sanctum Sanctorum, we can see that Adam Warlock has realized that the Infinity Gauntlet has changed hands from Thanos to Nebula, and he immediately realizes that the situation has gone from bad to worse. Because you guys have to remember, Nebula possessing the Infinity Gauntlet now, she had been under months of pain and anguish as a result of what Thanos had done to her when she had been dead and when he had brought her back to life on that line of life and death. And so her possessing the Infinity Gauntlet, it really, like any thought that she makes, her mind is so sporadic, just moving everywhere. One simple crazy thought could literally destroy the entire universe. And so Adam Warlock asked Doctor Strange for help with his mystic talents. But returning to Thanos, somewhere in the vacuum of space, we can see that Taraxia has actually died as a result of, suffocating from the vacuum of space, because Thanos says that he hadn't had the foresight to give her the ability to breathe within the deep vacuums of space, and so he will miss her. But he realizes that Thanos, his eternal genes and Nebula banish him off into somewhere in space that he doesn't even know. He won't die. His body is accustomed to being in the vacuum of space, so he really concludes this to him spending an eternity to think about all of his sins and all the things that he had done while he had possessed the Infinity Gauntlet. But suddenly we can see that a portal opens, and when Thanos goes through the portal, he is transported to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where Doctor Strange, Adam Warlock, and the Silver Surfer are waiting for him. And when Thanos asks them why they brought him here, Doctor Strange wonders this question himself, and Silver Surfer, he says that it may be so that he can destroy Thanos. So when Adam Warlock tries to stop the Silver Surfer, we can see that the Silver Surfer and Thanos are engaged in a massive power conflict, and Adam Warlock tells Doctor Strange to back away because neither him or Adam Warlock have the power to separate the two, but Doctor Strange has the power to summon those that can, as Adam Warlock says, and Doctor Strange says that he's way ahead of Adam Warlock, and we can see that he summons Drax the Destroyer, Firelord, Doctor Doom, Hulk, and Thor? Okay, he summons them to try to break up the conflict with Thanos and the Silver Surfer. The only reason I say that about Thor is because you guys remember in issue number 4, Thor was shattered into a million Asgardian pieces. So how is he here? I guess maybe because it's Eric Masterson and Thor, and you know how Donald Blake and Thor, two different, entities. Maybe that's why, and the hammer wasn't destroyed. That's why Thor's back. You know what? Let's talk about this. How do you guys think that Thor came back after he had been shattered as glass in issue number 4? Let me know. But we can see that as the conflict is subsided by the remainder of Earth's forces, we can see that Adam Warlock tells Thanos and the Silver Surfer that they need to, band together to save the universe from destruction. And Thanos replies to Adam Warlock, and he says that this is exactly where the universe is heading, with Nebula in control of the gems, because her intellect is not up to godhood. Because Thanos, and this is really apparent of the Infinity Gauntlet, such omnipotence, having control of that much power, really control of all facets of the universe, will be a crushing blow for even the finest mind. And you guys have to remember, Nebula being on that line of life and death, it must be total confusion, as she has to delude universal sensory input. She knows everything, but she can't think about it. How hard is that? That's like saying, if I say elephant, don't think about an elephant, what do you think about? Elephant. It's like she has to try to stop herself from doing that, and any mistake that she makes, any small thought that she has that could be like something, like she could turn everyone into cats for all we know. Like it's really, it's way more dangerous with Nebula with the Infinity Gauntlet. So with them all agreeing with this, Nebula being the most dangerous possessor of the Infinity Gauntlet, Adam Warlock concludes it to everyone wanting to go with his design, and Thor remarks and he says that the plan stinks of risk, but there's really no alternative, and Doctor Strange agrees, and Adam Warlock replies to them and he says in that case, he'll need to speak with Thanos alone before they can proceed, and Doctor Doom gets triggered. He says that you're trying to talk to Thanos alone so you can scheme up some other deviltry plan, and he accuses Adam Warlock of having some type of secret partnership with Thanos, and Thor literally just says, to the door, Doom. So they kick Doctor Doom out, where Adam Warlock and Thanos can discuss privately. And when they begin this straightforward conversation, as Adam Warlock says, Adam Warlock basically tells Thanos that Thanos knows that they need his help to overcome Nebula. And Thanos says that what if he withholds this aid? What benefit does he reap from Nebula's defeat? Adam Warlock tells Thanos that he will gain the truth. And Thanos asks him what truth. And Adam Warlock says that it's the truth about himself. And Thanos asks Adam Warlock if he has some sort of special insight into this matter. And Adam Warlock says that yes, he does, because he was a part of the Soul Gem while Thanos possessed it, and because of that, it permitted him access to Thanos' inner heart, and he knows Thanos better than any other being in the universe does, and he even knows him better than Thanos knows himself. And Adam Warlock tells Thanos to look back on his life, and he tells him to remember that he was always a man seeking ultimate power, and he lost it as soon as he attained it, which is very apparent because you guys remember when he had become Eternity, he was probably Eternity for about 2 pages before Nebula took the gauntlet off. And Adam Warlock basically says this is because deep in Thanos' soul, he knows that he's not worthy of that power. 3 times he had triumphed over incredible odds to gain the ends that he had desired. When he had been pining for the Infinity Gems, when he had tried to acquire the Cosmic Cube, and all 3 times, I can't remember the third time, but all 3 times he subconsciously supplied the means to his own defeat. He let Nebula take the gauntlet from him, and he let Captain Marvel shatter the Cosmic Cube. And when Thanos tries to reply, he's like, it was a mistake. Gods don't And he says that he will aid Adam Warlock, but he tells Adam Warlock that afterwards there'll be no promises. And Adam Warlock tells him that none are expected. And he asks Doctor Strange, "Is everything ready?" And Doctor Strange replies to Adam Warlock, and he tells him that everyone is set to go. And he tells Thor to fight well, and he shall give it his all. So I guess there has to be some reason, if he's talking to Thor specifically, why he's back. But we can see that as they're opening the portal to try and go and take the gauntlet off of Nebula, Thanos remarks to Adam Warlock, Doctor Strange, and the Silver Surfer that they haven't one chance in a million for victory. And Adam Warlock tells Thanos that they are well aware of that, but they have a chance. And Thanos remarks to Adam Warlock, and he tells him that yes, they have 1 in a million of stopping Nebula. But when we return to the Shrine of Nebula, we can see that she's just basking in the glory of her newfound godhood power, and she's talking to Eros, and she says that already the mist begins to part, and the future is so clear to her and her destiny because she can understand the hunger of Thanos' infinite might, and she realizes that anything under the universe is hers to sculpt, and the universe is really clay for her waiting to be molded. And she says that she will never be victimized or surprised again because every waking moment, as time stretches on, backward, forward, forever, she is omnipotent. She knows everything that will happen, and she tells Eros that in this moment, in fact, a most satisfying moment is upon them because in exactly 5 seconds, she will be receiving visitors, and she in fact does, as Hulk, Thor, Drax, Doctor Doom, and Firelord enter the portal to begin the conflict against Nebula. And Nebula actually recognizes them as 2 old foes, and I know for a fact it's Firelord, and I want to say the other is Thor. And why do I want to say that it's from the Kree Scroll? Where I remember specifically when Firelord had attacked. But yeah, just a little more, comic break for you guys. But when they engage Nebula, we can see that they're really attacking as one. The power that they're exhibiting at this moment against Nebula, it's easily enough to render a small planet asunder. But, against Nebula and the Infinity Gems, they're really nothing. And Nebula uses the Infinity Gauntlet to pull a Captain America ankle grab 2.0, but this time she uses it to trap literally the remainder of the Earth's forces so that that conflict that we thought that was about to just take place, it's really not happening at all. But that's only because Nebula had noticed who were the architects of this cosmic assault that they had just conjured up against her. And she realizes that 2 or 3 people are coming to challenge her might. And she realizes that one of them is Thanos, Eros' brother. And Thanos tells her that he is coming to reclaim the rightful property of his, which he believes is the Infinity Gauntlet. And Nebula says that he's coming with the help of his 2 little friends. And as you can see, it's Thanos, Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, and Adam Warlock. And we'll get more into that in the next issue. But yeah, we can see that the next conflict is about to happen, really the final confrontation of Thanos, Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, and Adam Warlock against Nebula with the fully powered Infinity Gauntlet. Okay guys, so that was it. That was Infinity Gauntlet, issue number 5, the Astral Conflagration. And can that be the resume for Avengers 4? Because literally, I don't want to say too much at the beginning, but it was literally Thanos versus the entire universe. Let me just say, if in Avengers 4, if Thanos fights Eternity and he usurps the role of Eternity, and we see like a silhouette Thanos of the universe, I'm going to flip out. I cried when Iron Man got stabbed in Infinity War, but like just tears of like terror. I don't want Iron Man to die, but it will literally be tears. I might pass out, guys. I might die, and that's a good thing for me. But okay, I'm flipping out too much right now. But okay, guys, in the next issue, really the final issue of Jim Starlin and Marvel's The Infinity Gauntlet, it's the final confrontation where we'll see Thanos, Adam Warlock, the Silver Surfer, and Doctor Strange in their last final attempt to try and usurp the Infinity Gauntlet from Nebula, who had taken it off of Thanos. Guys, we're almost there. We're almost done with our first story. Oh, man, I'm so excited. Okay, we're not going to make this too long. If you guys like the video, remember to like, comment anything you guys want to see, any questions that I asked you guys in the video. And yeah, if you guys want to see more of Comic Break 98, remember to subscribe and I'll get these videos out to you guys. But yeah, you guys have a good rest of your day and I'll see you later. Goodbye.